You're gonna remember this every day for the rest of your life. If you want to get to a goal, if you want to get to your dream, you got to focus on all the little steps. You have to put in your time. You have to be patient and you have to enjoy the process. Whatever you're doing now, whatever you want to be great at, whatever you want to be special at, I'm sure you maybe already be good at it, but to be extraordinary, you have to do extra. I firmly believe that we are all here for a very specific reason, to do something truly extraordinary. But what are you going to do to get there?
I am so grateful and fortunate to have Looking for Stephanie Veloso on the show. Welcome to the show, Steph.
Thank you, Mark. So happy to be here. So excited.
I know, this is very exciting. There's so many things we want to get into about this fascinating young lady, but I'd like to hear all about your start. You grew up in Miami. Tell us about your basically immersion into the Miami culture, because Miami is very unique. We're going to hear all about it because you're a specialist. You're a specialist.
I guess you could say that.
So please tell us about your story.
So I actually was not born in Miami. A lot of people don't know this. I was born in New York to 100% born and raised Brazilian parents. So I am the Brazilian gringa, as people love to call me. And we moved to Miami when I was about 4 or 5 years old. My parents were tired of the cold. They were tired of bundling us up and having to get us down 3 city blocks. And after 3 city blocks, just being like, Mom, I have to pee, and having to take off, 30 layers of clothing and go back. So we moved down here. This was previously just a vacation destination for us. And I got straight into it. I went to school and started my young life in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so Miami, you've seen a lot of crazy, we talk celebrities, amazing things that happen in Miami, but you've seen a lot of transitions that Miami has gone through. So your start, it's still super cool, but it's a very different version now of what it used to be.
Yes.
So what are those transitions? What do they look like to take us where we are now?
So when I came to Miami, I'm 34 now, so it was kind of already just post the whole cocaine cowboys craze of Miami, right?
Of
so it
course,
was early 90s, so it was just coming off of all of that kind of insanity.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami was really a burgeoning city. There was a lot happening. There was a lot of supermodels living here. There was a lot of still drug dealers. There was a lot of very high profile celebrities and businessmen living here. And I think that really, for sure it contributed to a really vibrant nightlife and a really vibrant social life. So I grew up kind of watching all that happen. I remember, my mom going to, there used to be a really nice area of Coconut Grove called the Mayfair Mall, and it was very chic, and there was a Ralph Lauren proper store there. And I remember going with my mom one day, and we walk in, and she's just there to buy 2 blouses or something, and there's this guy, and he's with these 4 stunner women, all Amazonian, super tall, and he has this crazy gold watch on, and he's just at the counter paying cash for anything they want. And I don't think I fully understood it at that age, but I knew something bananas was happening. And I kind of grew up in the midst of a lot of that flashy intensity. And I think a lot of that's still here now, but I think finally Miami's starting to be taken seriously. It's not just frivolous anymore. The party's still going, but there's a lot of business happening behind all the fun. Yeah.
And what Miami is, we have a new young lady who's working at our 1220 location from Australia, and the way Miami is perceived all over the world is very unique, and it's certainly trending up. But can you think back to when you started? What were the most prominent then restaurants, clubs, things happening in Miami that were super cool, or just the places? What were they back then?
Back then for sure, there were different scenes, but Coconut Grove was a scene. Coco Walk was super cool. I would say family by day, but parties by night. And there were guys in super cool hooked up cars doing laps around all night. As far as South Beach, I mean, certainly I would say when I was already, I mean, I wasn't old enough to get in, but I was getting in, I would say it was just phasing out of Liquid Nightclub, going into Mansion, going into Privé, going into Opium Garden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We all have some shady memories there.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely a circuit.
Definitely, right? And so just prior to that, obviously, had been Living Room. You know, you were definitely getting into the days of, oh God, what was that place? Down south. I just like blanked out on it. Well, I'll get back to it. But as far as restaurants, I mean, Nobu at the Shore Club, super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Prime 112, which is still super cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was like the C&B scene. I mean, that was it. That's where you wanted to go. And I think back then there weren't as many options. Now there's definitely a lot more to choose from.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a vibe for sure.
Certainly. I mean, I remember there was a point where you had your Nobus and you had Prime, but you didn't have. It wasn't a restaurant city. It really wasn't.
No.
Correct. And now it's like gangbusters, crazy restaurants. So we'll talk about that later. But Liquid was Chris, right?
Yeah.
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 I mean, crazy run. I mean, he's like the superhero of clubs, and no one can do it better. What was his reputation like then? Do you remember it?
I mean, I remember it. I mean, he was a little bit of a bad boy, but you know, everybody wanted.
I've heard that. He's a good boy now.
Like, sorry, Chris.
Shout out to Chris. He's a good boy.
Shout out to Chris. I love him. He's great.
Yeah.
One of the best people I know. Yeah. But you know, back then he was a little bit of a bad boy, and everybody wanted to party with him and go where he was going. But you know, maybe there'd be a little trouble, you know, but it was all fun.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And now you've seen its growth, like we said, the restaurants and the clubs, and it's certainly transitioned. Do you feel like the big clubs are kind of phasing out, and now it's more like the, not speakeasy, but smaller clubs, more of a vibe or lounge that's more in now?
Yes, so I mean, we still have the giants, right? We cannot have this conversation without talking about, obviously, like Live nightclub. Like it's one of the most successful clubs in the country, absolutely. But I will say I've been seeing this trend now of lounge and also restaurant lounge kind of hybrids and a lot of members only clubs. That's something that didn't really exist in Miami anymore. Like it was definitely happening in New York, in LA, where I spent a lot of time too. But Miami now is kind of focusing on a bit more of a boutique experience and a personalized experience. And I think also a more elevated experience. Not that it wasn't before, but now it's just taking things to another level for sure.
Absolutely. What are the other clubs? We have ZZ's. What are the other clubs, membership clubs?
I mean, I love ZZ's. There's also I feel like a lot of people know about ZZ's, but there's another place a lot of people don't talk about. It's called Haiku. And it is truly completely members only. You kind of pre-commit, like if you're accepted, and you have to be referred by an existing member.
Accepted.
Yes, and you can't just apply. It's kind of like, you know, the existing members have to refer you. They review, I believe, only once a year. And if you are accepted, you are kind of already pre-committing to a certain number of dining experiences. And it's really beautiful and it's amazing. And so that place is really cool. I heard of a new place. I don't know the name yet, and I don't really want to share too much if I get anybody in trouble, but there is a certain place somewhere around Collins and the 20-somethings, let's say the low 20-somethings,
okay,
that used to be a very popular nightlife spot.
Okay.
That's already had 2 different iterations.
Okay.
And this place is now very soon also going to open as a members lounge.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. You heard it here first. So
Steph told you.
I'm sure Steph will certainly be there. Steph told me. Okay. Awesome. So now, do you remember? What was your favorite spot growing up? Favorite restaurant? And then, if you had one place that you would absolutely want to sneak into because you weren't of age, let's cover those 2 before we move on to the social scene.
Okay, so super easy. I can say that for me, which by the way, I was a complete hermit up until a certain age, I think about like 16, 17.
What changed?
Well, I was on the competitive dance team at my school. It was like a high kick team.
Oh, wow.
Jazz, you know, hip hop, everything, lyrical. I was always into dance. I thought I was going to go on to be like this ballerina and all of these things. And one day a friend of mine who was a little bit older she actually broke her ankle. She was at the Miami Beach, the ballet school, and she asked me to cover for her. And at night, she would work as like a dancer, like the dancer girls, like on the stage at this club called Mansion. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead, I'll audition for your boss. I did. I got the gig to cover for her, but after she was better, the boss was kind of like, you're great, like we want to keep you on. And I started going at definitely, I would say, I was probably 17 at the time. I was going to Mansion. I started to get to know the security, the managers, like just everybody who was kind of hustling and bustling and making the day-to-day work. I didn't know any of the owners at this point. And they were just very nice to me. They always looked out for me. They made sure that no creeps were trying to talk to me, whatever,
That's
you know.
nice. Series of brothers, right?
Yeah. And that's how I kind of really, really got into that scene. And then eventually I did meet the owners and everybody else, and that's a different story. But for me, I think what started my real love affair at that time was Mansion. Mansion was the coolest place to be, and I swear to you, if I can get in a time machine, I would go back right now. And second to that, I would say Mint. Mint was really cool.
I remember Mint. I remember Rock Bar.
Rock Bar.
That's where I met my wife, by the way.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was wild. But then, what was special about Mansion to you?
You know, I think to me, again, maybe because I had made those kind of relationships, those friendships with everybody who worked there. Like I knew every busboy, I knew every bartender. I actually ran into one of the bartenders. Shout out to his name is Chris. I ran into him recently, actually, super cool. And I think because I knew everyone, I really felt like I was home there and I felt safe. And I'm telling you, like I was, by the time 17, 18, 19, 20, my mom would sometimes drop me off, my mom, at the front door of the club, and she knew every door guy and she knew they were going to look out for me, so I'd be safe. And so I think that vibe already started it off for me. And then second of all, the parties that would go on there would go sometimes 6, 7 in the morning. They would drop the curtain down the stage and we would all party behind the stage. And we would like stumble out the back and the sun was coming out. But again, it was the sense of community. It was the sense of somehow inclusivity, which sounds really strange to say about a club that's supposed to be exclusive.
But at the end of the day, like as we know, all businesses function or get optimized. I'm struggling to find the words, but because they have some sort of a culture or the vibe culture, we'll call it whatever you want, but what's happening inside is it's inclusive and you want to be there because of the bonds and the connections you have with the people. And let's be honest, it ends up feeling like close friends to family, right? And that's why you keep going back, and that's why people want to keep going back. It's cool, but I think it has to be more than cool, you know? Yeah. So that's very interesting. But also, I think at that time, I remember coming down here when I was playing sports, and all those faces that I saw, they still, like, they're in South Beach, and they all have stories. When I see, like, there's so many names I could ramble off. They're still here, and it's not like they're in clubs. They're doing things. They're all grown up, but I think it's really cool because everyone kind of knows each other, and you know, if you need something, you can go to those people and they'll almost help you because it's a close-knit community. And Miami's not a terrible place. I actually think it's a wonderful place and people are kind of tight. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I do agree with everything you're saying about that sense of community. I think somehow, again, Mansion for me, in my experience, felt like Cheers, you know, where everybody knows your name. Like somehow it had that small town bar feel, even though it was a giant club. And I also do agree with you. I think that any city is what you make it. And I think that any city has a scene, you know. Everywhere you go, you can say, oh, everybody knows each other. It's a small scene. My argument for Miami is, at the end of the day, we live in paradise. The sun is shining most of the time, sometimes across the street and it's raining on you, but it'll switch over in 5 minutes.
That's right.
You know, we have it pretty easy. We're not, you know, cooped up inside or in heavy coats and wearing all black half of the year, like in other places. And I think that the pace of life and the mentality here is kind of, it's very tropical. It's very relaxed. It's very laid back. And I know you hear people say all the time, like, Miami is not Florida.
That's right.
Miami isn't the U.S.
It's another
Miami
country.
is another country, and it's a really cool country. I mean, I think it's the American Riviera. I think it's a melting pot, and I think that if you choose to see it that way, and you choose to kind of see that side of it, then that never-ending spirit of celebration can be a positive thing. I mean, there is a dark side if you really get caught up, but that case can be made for any city, I think.
Absolutely. Miami is super unique. I have friends from all over the country and playing sports in different towns. They'll say, hey, what's Miami like? And they ask me questions. I'm like, it's really not like that. It's pretty normal. The one thing I will say about Miami, everyone wants to travel and go on vacations. I'm like, you kind of live in a vacation spot. The water's right there. It's beautiful. The beaches are incredible. You have everything you want. You want to go to a nice restaurant, it's right there. You want to have a staycation, do whatever you want. Yeah. It's really here. We're very fortunate. We're very blessed. It's one of the best cities in the world, if not the best city in the world, in my opinion.
I mean, I'd be hard pressed to not agree with that. I mean, I think, and again, especially with what's going on now, you know, it's like you said that we have everything at our fingertips here. And now I think professionally, in terms of business and in terms of opportunity, we're also growing and becoming respected in that aspect as well. So, I mean, what else could you ask for? Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I wanted to transition into what you're doing now is super cool. It's super fun. And honestly, I really look forward to it because it makes me laugh like crazy. And because that's why it's so funny, because it's true. As Dane Cook says, hence funny. You're laughing, but it's true. Yeah. So Looking for Steph is your Instagram handle, correct?
Yes.
And you started basically putting together clips that are very specific, explaining Miami. And I'm going to let you, why did you start doing these clips? What made you think to do this?
So my Instagram, at least Looking for Steph, started on a personal note only. It was just a regular page. I was posting, I don't know, my avocado toast, my coffee, whatever, the outfit of the day. I think like so many other people online, nothing special. And I have also, of course, my second account, Steph Told Me, where, you know, I've been building my brand. But what I wanted to do with both of them, or the way that the way that they originated was, like I told you, since back in kind of late high school years, I started going out and I started getting in the mix and I started meeting all sorts of people and befriending all sorts of people. People really started to call me that. They were kind of like, where's Steph? I'm looking for Steph. Like, where's she going to be? Where's she going? Or, you know, where should I go? And they'd come and ask me and they'd say, well, Steph told me this. So these became like two kind of names that kind of stuck and were kind of rotating around. But what happened with the Looking for Steph videos in particular were, one day I was just like talking to a friend and I was like, man, you remember back in the day, like at these condos, and there was a particular condo that brought it up, which was the Flamingo. And I don't know if you know about the Flamingo back in the day, but
I want to say I do, but if I say I do, that might mean other things.
So I heard about it.
I heard about it.
You heard. We've all heard about what it was back then. And it was kind of a party central, to put it mildly. And we started just kind of talking about that condo and a couple others. And I said, you know what? Like, let me just make this video. Let me just talk about these condos and whatever. Let me just make it and send it to you just for us. Like, it was a joke, you know? So I got onto TikTok. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm 34 years old. I'm probably the oldest person on here. And I made this video, like with crappy mic or whatever, just kind of winging it, saying things that I remembered about these condos. And I posted it and I went to sleep. And the next morning, or I should say afternoon, because I wake up a little late, I have all these texts from my friend. She's like, hey, like, go online to your TikTok, go to your Instagram, go look at the videos. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, dude, just trust me, go look. And they had blown up and they'd been reposted by all these people. And people were like laughing. I mean, some people weren't laughing.
Yeah, it depends. It depends who it was.
But yeah, that's kind of how it started. And at that point I was like, well, let me just keep going. And I started talking about everything that I knew and remembered.
I love it. I was crying laughing at several of the condos. We've talked about that multiple times. Which one was the most popular?
It's a pretty close tie. The Opera Towers.
Oh yeah, the Opera Towers good.
Which also definitely hit a few nerves with a lot of people. And the original, which was chapter 1 of What Your Miami Condo Says About You. So I think I covered Flamingo. I covered some of the Paraiso Towers in Edgewater, and I think the Continuum. I can't remember.
I think you did the Continuum. I know a lot of people who live in a Continuum, but so, as you do. So do you get now? Are you getting more requests to hit on certain things? Are people telling you what to hit on?
Yeah. So the thing that shocked me the most is there are actually people that are upset that I'm not kind of roasting or throwing out some little jokes about their particular condo. And also now, because I've branched out into restaurants, other things, I obviously covered your
Oh
gym.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You did.
Some people are now feeling left out, which I
know.
love, because that's all it is. That's all it is. It's all in good fun, you know.
Right.
It's
Of course.
just a fun little roast.
Of course. I love it. And you know, it's interesting. You cover these videos and you're, you know, hitting on all the nerves, but they're also every spot in Miami. And the thing is that the things that you're saying are incredibly accurate. So when these people fire at, you know, shout out to you or are combative with you on social media, what do you say to them?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I did that first video and I got like inundated with all sorts of comments and whatever, and I was literally going through one by one. I mean, my immediate instinct, I think, obviously was to, like, in my mind, I'm going through all the responses I could, you know, kind of.
How do you
throw
handle
back.
that, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and you know, anybody who says that they don't feel it to some extent or have some sort of reaction, I don't believe anybody who says that. I think that no matter how long you've been doing comedy or acting or anything you do that's your creative craft, it is gonna like sting a little bit on some level. But I will say, most of it now kind of just slides right over. I delete it. I block them. I don't really say anything. I don't believe in feeding people who have bad intentions with more of my energy or my time. If I can avoid it, I avoid it, you know? Yeah.
Awesome. And this, your platform and the things that you're doing now, you must have, you know, all kinds of people or platforms reaching out to you. Maybe it's magazines, I don't know, podcasts like this, or has that increased tremendously?
Yeah. A lot of people have reached out to me. I've definitely already started getting work from this. And it's been requests for podcasts. I've gotten requests to host events. I hosted a couple things over Art Basel, you know, in December. And I've been writing for different outlets, you know, kind of contributing there, here and there, doing some freelance stuff. So it's definitely exploded in ways that, a lot of ways I didn't expect, some that I could have maybe expected, but I've been pleasantly surprised. And I love it all because truthfully, if I can trace back everything I was passionate about, and I love all the way to my childhood, like my earliest memories, and I think we were saying before, is like I love to read. And I don't like audiobooks. I don't like reading on an iPad or a Kindle. Like I like an old school book. I love the smell of books. You know, when I was a kid, I used to hide under the covers until late hours when I was supposed to be sleeping with my little reading light, reading till 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
That speaks volumes, by the way.
I mean,
it's a big deal.
That's what it was. It was always a passion for me. So I always was fascinated by storytelling, by getting kind of lost in a story, by writing, you know. And later, you know, as I kind of grew more confident, not so much when I was young, I got confident speaking as well. So I always knew I wanted to do something that encompassed those three kind of talents, I guess you could say, or skills. Okay.
Did you have a favorite author or series of books when you were a kid?
Ooh, that is so hard to pick. That is so hard. I had many, but I will say that in those terms, the books that I reference the most, or the author that I still go back to the most, truthfully, I mean, I'm a classicist. Like, I go back to Shakespeare. And when I was a kid, I memorized a lot of his verses and a lot of his books and things. So I think for me, he is, well, it's debatable who he really was. People say he might have been a woman, he might have been somebody else, he might have not really been him. I think he was the grandfather, or maybe he was the grandmother of, I think, modern literature.
Awesome. That's impressive. That's super. It is surprising, but that's awesome to know. And do you now when you say you have to hold the book, you like the smell of books, are you geared toward philosophy, or do you focus on one thing? Will you read anything? Do you read self-help books? Do you read, you know, like, would you read a Jay Shetty book?
Yes. I will read anything. I'm open to everything. I think that's always been the case. Like, I've never been biased. I might have had those favorites as a kid, but I read a lot of fiction. I'll read nonfiction. I love self-help. I adore philosophy. There was a long time when I was much younger that I swore I was going to be a psychologist.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
So, you know, I'm open. I'm really open to it all. I read news articles all the time. I'll read anything at any time. And I do think that's one thing that I am proud about when it comes to myself. Is I still somehow miraculously have the attention span to read something kind of long form in this day and age when everything is very short, in
Sure.
span.
That's certainly a skill set. It's a skill set. It's a very important skill set to focus and actually take something to the finish line.
Yes.
So that's impressive. Kudos
Yes.
to you. So when we talk about all these videos you're posting in your platform, and a lot of businesses is coming from this, we have people on the show that this is actually serious. This is a business. You're very professional. You take this seriously. Steph, on the way over here, I knew she was going to be on. She asked me if I had certain tools to make sure that this was perfect, which is amazing because I was super impressed. Like, she takes it very serious, and I love that. She's not just screwing around with the camera and shooting some videos. She actually puts a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
And that's super. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that in anything. So, tell the audience, like, how serious you take this and how much time you put into this and how much thought goes into this.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And it is the case for me. I am, as I said, very nocturnal. I stay up until late hours of the night. I think by the time you're rowing in the gym, I'm still awake writing at home. You know what I mean? That's my vibe. And like many creatives, I think that the world quiets down enough for my brain to kind of turn on in those hours, right? So for me, I write all night. And every video I've done, I think the Opera Tower was the only one I was completely unscripted. And I think that the content I put in the back spoke for itself.
It went very well. That worked out.
That one was more just reaction, camera time. But every other episode that I write, which truly to me is an episode, I spend sometimes weeks. I did an episode, the one on Komodo, actually. The Komodo episode, I was tinkering with that for almost 3 months. I was never happy with it. I'm still not happy with the version that I released. And I probably have 10 different versions and takes and kind of angles with it. So for me, first and foremost, the thing that's most serious to me is to make people laugh.
Okay, Steph. So you've been in Miami forever. You know Miami better than anyone. We really need to cover your list. Your list is a special list of the places to go. And I'm not talking about, and some of these places will be cool, but these are places that maybe people aren't aware of, correct? Please.
Yeah, definitely. I think everybody knows the big names and, the hot places with all the big PR that get published all the time. And we love those places. They're great. But I don't think they need any more help, So I think that there are a lot of places that are really great, hole in the wall, maybe mom and pop shops. A lot of them also happen to be locally owned and operated, which makes me more passionate about them. But I think we need to give these guys some love too.
Okay, so when we go through this list, you got to give us the ins and outs and give us the scoop on everything about these spots. Because I have people that message me all the time, where should I go? And I know where they should go, but I want them to go to the best spots in Miami. So shoot, here we go.
Okay, so in no particular order, so nobody gets upset. There's a lot of great places, first and foremost, to eat, which is the first priority for me, to eat well.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go down the list of a couple of them, and I'm sure I'm going to leave some people out, but,
I'm going to take some notes.
Exactly. So kind of starting with a very old school favorite of mine. It's in Coral Gables. It's been there forever and ever. Cafe Abbracci.
Okay, I've heard of it. Heard of it.
Yes, so a lot of people I think kind of know, but outside of the Gables, maybe they don't. So Cafe Abbracci is just an old school, amazing, classic service Italian joint. Like, it's the kind of place that, like, if Sinatra was still alive, he would be there,
Okay. And this is like, we're talking 6 tables, 10 tables, 20 tables, roughly?
Like 20 tables, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
It's definitely a nice romantic vibe. So maybe Valentine's Day for people who are interested.
Okay.
It's family friendly, just really beautiful, small, and you're really going to get that personalized kind of service there.
Love it.
So
Love it.
there's
What's
that.
the best dish?
Ooh.
Or what have you had that was incredible there? What do you recommend? I'm going there.
Okay,
I need to know what to
say,
order.
Generally speaking, like, people like to go for the fish, for the sides, whatever. I think this is a place where the pastas are the star. So generally speaking, any of the pastas this is the place to go.
Okay.
And I will also say that a lot of the Italian places I'm going to talk about, in my personal opinion, have different strengths. So
Okay.
some of them might be pizza, some of them might be side dishes, but if you're going to Bracci, order a great wine and order a great pasta.
Awesome.
Bottom
Awesome. All right.
So next on my list is on South Beach. It's called Casa Isola. It is also Italian.
Okay.
So Casa Isola is the place you go to get your frigatoni.
Oh, wow.
It's like the rigatoni. It might be better than the rigatoni. I'm gonna upset some people with this,
Oh,
but you know
boy.
what? If
I
you
know
go
where you're
there,
going with this. I know you're going with this.
you have to get it. And they also have some great cocktails, and it's in a really cool area called Sunset Harbor. So you can literally leave this place and you can get a great drink at Bay Club, which is just around the corner.
And it's semi-new, correct?
It's semi-new. I think it's only about a year and change old. I want to
Okay.
say definitely under 2 years.
Okay. And we have to do this, or maybe I should bite my tongue. But let's you go on, and then I'll jump in,
Okay.
because I know we're gonna make some rigatoni comparisons. Is that correct?
Yes, we're
Okay.
going to have to talk about the rigatoni
Okay.
frigatoni.
Okay.
So then when you leave Casa Isola, a place I love is right around the corner, is called Bay Club. So
Okay.
Bay Club is obviously attached to Lucali. They're the same owners as Lucali. We know they're very famous for their pizza. But at Bay Club, you can just get great specialty cocktails. You can sit outdoors. It's a great kind of local watering hole, and you can definitely meet other, I would say, it's kind of like a young I would say an under 45 crowd, like probably like that 20-something to 40-something crowd. Really,
Okay.
really cool, really
Okay.
fun.
Understood.
After that, I would say
Wait, let me stop you there.
Yeah.
Is it the pizzas at Lucali are huge? Is that correct?
They're pretty big.
Okay.
I just like them because they're a very, very thin crust. And they are, I don't know, it's just they're not too saucy. They're not too sauce heavy, which for me is very important.
Understood. So I have a friend from Montreal, an Italian friend who owns several Italian restaurants, and I'm going to tell you, the quality of the pizza is determined by the quality of the blisters on the crust. Did you know that?
Yes.
You did know that?
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
I
my
thought
mom taught me that.
Okay.
I can't make a great pizza,
Okay.
but
Okay. I was like, I've never heard of such a thing. Okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
please.
no. So they're great. I mean, we can get into a pizza conversation
Okay.
if we want to go into pizza
We
in
might
Miami.
have to
Should we
circle
take it there?
back at the end.
Okay, we'll circle back. All right, great. Next, a personal favorite of mine, Odia. Odia is on Miami Beach. It's off of 5th and I believe Meridian. It's advertised as Argentine style, like Argentinian, but they do a really, really special barbecue on Sundays. So
Okay.
they also have some very low-key, fantastic pastas. The spicy shrimp pasta especially is my favorite.
Wow.
But they do fantastic meats. They do fantastic sides, surprisingly light dishes. They have a burrata that I love. Again, great cocktails. And when you kind of leave Odia, you can go to this place that's also around the corner. It's called Mini Bar.
Okay.
Local watering hole, really great, really small. It's very much the vibe of like Cheers. Everybody knows your name.
Big fan of Boston. Myself.
Yeah.
Big fan. Okay. That's great.
I know why I work out so
Oh,
much.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
in trouble if I didn't. Next, another favorite. We're going to go into some sushi here. Gold Standard.
Cool. Where is that? I've never even heard of Gold Standard, but that's the
So-
beauty of this list.
Yeah, Gold Standard, which in my opinion is the gold standard in Omakase in Miami. It's a pop-up. It's been in several locations. So originally, they were at the Versace mansion inside of Gianni's suite.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Yes, they were going under another name at that point, but they're now called Gold Standard. They then moved to the Nook, which is located on the second floor at Soho House, and they are now inside the Ritz-Carlton in Bal Harbour.
Got it.
So this is a very specific, I don't want to say sushi snob, because they are very welcoming to everybody, but it's a very authentic experience where it is omakase essentially means chef's choice.
Okay.
So they fly in these ingredients from Japan, from the best sources around the world, and they serve it to you fresh. And the way that it's served to you, piece by piece, you eat it with hand, not with a chopstick.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way you eat it. No soy sauce, no spicy mayo, nothing crazy. Really delicious.
And is this a sake place?
They have fantastic sake. They
Okay.
have fantastic whiskeys as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Right on.
Yes.
All right.
And they also have access to the bar for the hotel in case
Oh, nice.
other cocktails or
Nice.
anything.
Nice.
Okay, so another one that I really, really love would be, of course, the best Thai food in all of South Florida.
I have a few guesses, but I'm going to let you go there. And just be mindful, you could offend some people.
I could offend some people, so I have to apologize.
Best Thai food.
The best Thai food, specifically the curries. I love the curries and I love the beef jerky here.
Okay.
Is at a little place called Oishi Thai.
Oof. You just saved both of us. We would have been on a hit list. Okay.
I was like sweating a little bit. I'm like, I might be in trouble for this. But no, this
Okay.
is the absolute best place. It's been there for 15 plus years. They do have great sushi, but for me, the stars are the beef jerky, all of their curries.
Well, I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to be rude. The stars outside of Chef B
Outside.
is, please.
So outside of Chef B, the owner, the chef, the personality, the brand that is Chef B. The stars are definitely the curries here. There's a green curry with fish that I love. There is a crispy duck curry. It's a red curry that's to die.
It's the best. My favorite dish. Literally, that is my favorite dish.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's one of those where you really want to lick the plate. You want to be that person in the restaurant.
Unbelievable.
So yes, the beef jerky too, right? With that like sticky rice they serve it with. I don't know what they put in that sticky rice. It's
crazy.
Bananas. So and so many other things, but you also do come for the Chef B experience.
It's where before we get into the Chef B experience, the bok choy.
The bok choy.
It's crazy. It's
how do they make it?
It's I don't want to know. But the Chef B experience, before we get into the Chef B experience, Chef B is also a fitness wellness professional.
Yes.
And he spends a lot of time in gyms, in anatomy, I should say, not necessarily in gyms. He spends a lot of time at Tremble.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he works at least full time at Tremble.
He might be the mascot
for Aryan, and I know that today he was driving Aryan around.
Wow.
So I think that's a really, really strong case to say he could work for Tremble. But he's a great ambassador for anatomy as well. But please, if you go to Oishi Thai, what can you expect from Chef B?
What can you expect from Chef B? Well, what can I say? It's a festive experience.
And then some.
And then some. He's definitely known for his famous sake bombs.
Oh, yeah.
He'll make you do some of those.
Mm-hmm.
You might regret them in the morning, but they'll be fun at the time.
Mm-hmm. There may be a few appetizers that come out or large fishes that end up on the table. But nevertheless, you will not leave hungry and you may leave tipsy.
Definitely. I think that's going to absolutely happen.
Okay.
Okay, so next on the list, there's so many here. I like this little place. It's a cafe, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to go more to like the morning after you've left Chef B's party.
Okay.
And you need to kind of recover. There's a little place on South Beach called Babito's Cafe.
Okay.
Very cute. It's located at the bottom of the Flamingo residences. Yeah. We're not going to get into the Flamingo today. We don't have time for all of that.
That's another conversation.
But they have really fantastic coffee, breakfast, and brunch food. They have a vaca frita bowl. So it has like a little Latin twist to it. You know, the owners are Cuban American.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
So vaca frita, directly translates into like a fried cow.
Okay.
But it's just kind of like a yummy little shredded cow situation.
Okay.
And they mix it in the bowl with like some grains, some greens. It is actually pretty healthy, pretty filling, great protein.
Okay.
And they just have great coffees. They have all the alternative dairies for people that can't do dairy. And it's a cool hangout spot. There's a lot of cool young people there, a lot of influencers, a lot of good-looking faces. So
awesome.
It's also a networking spot. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's do three more, and then we will get into pizza real quick because I think that's an important topic.
Okay, so let's do three more. So let's say, le coup. All right, so now we have to talk about le coup. So this is like a Basque cuisine.
Okay.
This place is really, really beautiful, really understated, elevated, but still welcoming, which I think is an important distinction to make. So they do these just really spectacular, light Spanish dishes there. And again, a fantastic wine list. It's located inside the Rubel collection, the museum.
Okay.
So it's kind of a cool up-and-coming area that it's in Alapata. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it. They're one of the few places that actually get their particular variation of Iberico ham, which I didn't know this, but one of the owners there told me that there are usually only Michelin-starred restaurants that are allowed to carry this particular kind of Iberico ham.
Really?
And they're one of the few that are not yet Michelin, because Michelin, as you know, is not yet here, but they are coming in Miami, and they have it. They're just really spectacular. And I don't know. I just feel like it's one of those spots that's overlooked because it isn't a party.
Okay.
Just really chic and cool. I don't know. I love it.
I never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Another one on the list.
Another one, and locally owned again.
Okay.
And then another sushi place that I do love, because I love sushi so much, is in Coral Gables. It's inside of a strip mall with a Walgreens in it and a Milam's.
That's saying a lot.
Okay, people don't necessarily know. This place is called Matsuri.
Okay.
And when I was a kid and I used to go there, I saw Madonna there a few times and Sylvester Stallone. It's one of those places,
That's
you know?
crazy.
They have...
At the same time? It's like seeing a
I
unicorn.
think they were dating.
Okay.
They might or may not. I don't know.
Wow.
Madonna was dating a lot of bold-faced names at that time. Maybe at the same time.
No offense, Chris.
Sorry, Chris. But no, so Matsuri is a little bit more traditional. They do have a full menu, an a la carte menu. They also have a spectacular omakase experience at their bar. Extensive sake list. And just a great hole-in-the-wall experience that, again, is elevated, family friendly, and I don't know. I feel like people kind of forgotten that it's there just because it's not necessarily a really flashy party scene.
Okay. There's so many places to eat, but we have to remember that Miami, we hit on it a little bit earlier, but it wasn't really there wasn't a lot of. I'm talking 2006. It really wasn't a restaurant city.
No.
It really wasn't.
No.
But it's emerged.
I think over the years, I don't know if people have just become more savvy to promoting what was here, but I do know that, the only thing that I really remember that wasn't like a big Nobu or Prime 112 kind of place was a lot of little Latin spots,
Right.
A lot of little like Calle Ocho. There's a lot of spots there that are really, really great. But I don't know if people became more aware or more people kind of moved here. Maybe
Right.
it was too casual and there wasn't, I think there maybe was focused more on just kind of quick, like little cafecitos and coffee and windows and things and quick ins and outs. And maybe there wasn't a focus on the complete dining experience, which I have to say, I think Miami still has a bit of a ways to go there. That is
Okay.
one thing I can definitely acknowledge. I think that as a city, maybe we haven't, made the strides that other cities like New York or LA or even Chicago have made in offering somebody the full dining experience from beginning to finish and
Right.
not having to sacrifice maybe service for really good food
Right.
or maybe just having a really amazing scene, which is the most common thing I think in Miami. There's a lot of great scenes that do not have
A lot of scene.
fantastic food.
Yeah.
I would say even mediocre food, and I might get in trouble for saying that, but I have to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that one thing Miami's guilty of is we do have a lot of C+ food that's being served just because maybe it's an A+ scene.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Appreciate the honesty.
Yes. And so one of the last places I'll talk about on my list, which I think is more of a party scene and also does have great food, is Sweet Liberty.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know Sweet Liberty. I don't know if you've been there. It's on South Beach. It's off of Liberty Ave in Collins. Tiny little place. They have fantastic music. And they have amazing food. And I believe, off the record, one of the chefs there, I don't know if she promotes this now or not, is Michelle Bernstein, who's one of the stars, one of our local stars in the culinary scene. So they actually have some of the best swordfish tacos I've ever had in my life. They're at a bar. I know.
Wow.
Yeah, and I eat everything. I definitely eat meat. I am a carnivore. However, I regularly crave their cauliflower nachos.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds good.
Yes.
I know Michelle is super talented and gifted and is a very hard worker.
Incredible.
I love everything she does. She's awesome.
really incredible.
Awesome.
She really gets it right, in my opinion, every single time.
Awesome.
So
She's someone that's in it, like she knows it for decades and like just gets it. And,
Yeah.
And so much respect for her. Okay, so pizza. Let's cover. I know this is a wild topic. You're gonna give me the top 3 pizza spots in Miami. Okay, and they're like superheroes. They all have different skill sets, right?
Yes.
So let's go backwards. Number 3
Oh my God.
would be, there's a lot of pressure. Number 3 would be, and why?
Ooh, I have to rank them? Okay. What if we reevaluate? What if there's superheroes that all save the world, but they do it in different ways?
That's
right?
fine. I'm fine with that.
Can we say
that's
that?
Fair. That's fair. They're all superheroes and they save the world in different ways. Please.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm going to get in so much trouble. I apologize in advance. Once again, I'm doing a lot of apologizing today. I love and I adore and I crave on a very regular basis, Mr. 01.
Ooh, I hear a lot of. I've had it and it's wonderful. Go on.
Mr. 01. They used to be called Visa 01. Apparently, they had to change their name because Visa got a little heated about the use of the name. They were such a good pizza that, from what I understand and from what I've read, the gentleman who owns it, the chef, actually cooked for the board that was reviewing his visa to stay in this country. And it was so good that they approved it. They granted him a special visa. I am not kidding.
I love that story.
The Star Luca pizza, if you go there, for me is a non-negotiable. You can't miss it. I mean, the crusts are filled with this light, fluffy, homemade ricotta. That is the stuff that dreams are made of.
It's light.
No, it is light. It is. You know, the funny thing is, it's one of those places where you can totally stuff your face and you can leave and you don't feel like that heavy, greasy feeling. You're not like, oh my God, get me out of here.
I'll buy
a stretcher. That. So I love them. They have a few locations now. They have a very simplified wine list, really good. And they also sell a couple of their olive oils that I love and adore. So that's that. We already did talk about Lucali. I know this is their second location. I know they're also in New York. They're pretty damn good. I don't think there's much argument there. I have to give a shout, however, to a place that I feel like nobody talks about. It's a little tiny joint on Biscayne and like 63rd, 65th, somewhere around there.
I actually think I know this one.
Do you know this one?
Please.
Is it O Munacello?
It's very popular.
I mean, I
very
feel like
popular up there. I live by there.
Okay.
That's why everyone knows it.
Okay, I feel like, to me, like, I only discovered it, I have to say, a few years ago. I had a coworker who had moved here recently from Italy, and he's the one who put me on. I mean, this is a place that was so legit that when I went, he had to order for us because most of the people were only speaking Italian, which made me immediately trust it.
Right.
Their pizza is spectacular, also very thin. They apparently have a dough that's also a black dough as opposed to the white pizza dough, which I don't know if it was just in my head, but I felt like it had this like extra flavor or something. I don't know. Perfectly crispy. They have their little fire oven like right in the back of the restaurant. I don't know. I think it's spectacular. There's a seafood one too.
Okay.
It's one of the only places I'll actually order the seafood.
That's saying
pizza.
a lot.
Yes.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah. And then
Go.
the last place I have to shout out. They're not fully open. They're going to be soon. They're just doing pop-ups right now. Tiny little place right here near, in between Wynwood and in between Design District. It's called Old Greg's Pizza.
Oh, we've heard about this endorsement before. So tell us.
Yeah, I think I ate there like 3 times in 1 week recently. I mean, people were thinking that I was working there. I was the spokesperson. So this is a lovely couple who basically, Greg and his girlfriend Jackie, really, really sweet, cool, hardworking people. And they basically had plans to open a brick and mortar shop. And then, of course, COVID happened. Mm-hmm. So they decided to just go right ahead and start baking these pies at the time, which were like in these like rectangular trays, kind of square rectangular sort of shape, in their home. And they were doing them for delivery only. So they went ahead and they now were able to get a space. And they do both the square pies and they do more of a traditional pie.
Okay.
And the kind of extra special pizzazz that they put into it is a few things. Number one, it's a sourdough, naturally like rising, naturally leavened crust. Amazing. And they also happen to offer this spicy honey that you can just kind of coat the pizza in and some burrata. I mean, the stuff is insane.
Sounds incredible. So when is it opening?
I'm in about 2 weeks. I think they were saying that they're planning to be fully open. It's just been a little hard for them, just like for everybody. I mean, staffing and everything.
And did I miss the location?
So the location is right past the train tracks on 2nd Ave. Give me the exact address.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now.
This is so the audience knows. This is the 3rd time that Stephanie's told me about Old Greg's Pizza, and she said it's incredible, and that's saying a lot to mention it 3 times. And there's a lot of pretty good pizza spots in Miami. So please.
There's a lot. So they so their thing once again is because they're only doing pop-ups. Right now, the game is you have to get there early. You have to get there preferably before they're open. So if you check their Instagram and they say, hey, we're doing this starting at 6, I'm out there at like Really? I mean, there was a time I was out there at 5. I'm not even kidding. This stuff was like, it was like a sneaker drop. It was like,
funny.
I don't know
That's
if
funny.
anyone remembers waiting at like, to buy tickets for concerts, in person back when we used to do that.
That's funny.
Backstreet Boys, I used to like line up at this place called Specs Music. It was like that. It's serious for me, okay?
That's funny.
So they're actually they're at 3620 Northeast 2nd Ave.
Okay. Awesome.
So yeah.
You gotta check out Old Greg's Pizza.
Yes.
All right. So you've been amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I have a quick list here. This is like the Miami food starter pack quick list. Starter pack. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you have to, the first one that comes to your mind, boom. That's it. And if you want a quick little tidbit about why, that's fine. Best scene.
Best scene?
Yeah.
Like a party scene?
You got to pick best scene in a restaurant.
Oh, best scene out of the list that I gave you?
Well, it can be on the list. It can be off the list, but best scene.
Ooh. Okay, on the list, best romantic cute scene? Oria. Go there, for
Okay.
sure. It's a vibe.
Okay.
Best scene right now off that list that I mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Hassalan's pretty crazy. I have to throw it in there.
Hassalan. What is
Hassalan.
that?
They are the same family as they're major food group. They're the same family as
okay.
Carbone and Zzz's. I love Zzz's too. I mean, we have to talk about them, right? But Hassalan is a wild party. They hand out cowbells at some point in the night. People are
course.
dancing on the tables. It's definitely a vibe. It's a rager.
Standard procedure.
Yeah.
Handing out cowbells.
Yes.
Okay. Best service.
Ooh. Best service. Holy crap. Wow, I'm on the spot here. Chef B, Uishitai.
Oh,
The most personal.
Chef B.
I love Chef B. You know
You're-
what? I gotta give it to him. No
you're-
service like Chef
You're-
B service.
It's true though. I mean, Chef B, he's a good friend, like a brother, but I pick on him all the time. But he's a great human being, and he works his ass off.
Yes.
I'm not
yes.
kidding. It's unbelievable. He works his ass off. Anyone who says he doesn't hasn't watched him work. It's crazy.
No,
Crazy.
and I don't know anybody who's ever that I've brought, first timers to his restaurant. I don't know a single person who hasn't left like with his phone number, giving him a hug, agreeing to come back.
It's so true.
I
It's
think
true.
that's so important here. I could talk, forever about places that have horrible service,
Right.
but there's nothing like going to a place where you're treated with so much just attention and love and really feeling like you're in a family environment.
Nice. Way to go, Chef. Not surprised. He does it for us all the time. Okay. I know you mentioned a breakfast spot, the one in the Flamingo, but you had to tell someone where to get breakfast in Miami right now. Where are they going?
Best breakfast in Miami?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to go with an old school spot in the Grove. Go to Green Street.
Man, everyone loves
Green Street's
Street.
fun. It's an
Yeah.
institution.
Green
There's
Street.
a reason it's been there so long. And I don't know, you go out there on Sundays, all those families are there, people are there. There's singles there for single people that want to meet somebody, cute guys with their dogs. I don't know, it's a fun community spot. And I remember for as long as I've lived here, my parents, when we moved here, when I was a kid, it's one of the first places that stayed stuck in my mind. I just remember seeing it and being like, what are all these people doing there? What's happening at this place, So, yeah.
Awesome. Best smoothie.
Best smoothie. Pura vida.
Oh, man.
I'm just I have to say it. I love them. You know what I mean? They have different locations now, so you can pick whichever one you want to go to. I happen to go to the one in Edgewater or the one in Design District the most, but they have some pretty yummy smoothies. Yeah.
I think Dreamer should
Ooh.
get a shout out.
Okay, Dreamer, that's true. That's true.
Dreamer does a great job. And I know that Sun Life is
They're open here now.
they're open. Yeah, they're opening a spot on
Yes. For all you
Alton.
LA peeps,
Oh yeah.
you're
LA.
going to recognize Sun Life.
Oh, LA loves Sun Life. And okay. Best steak in Miami.
Holy crap. Another one. I'm in a bind. Okay, so as a Brazilian, okay, I love Texas to Brazil for the Brazilian style experience.
Okay, that's
if you
fair.
guys haven't had an authentic one, it's funny because the owners there, unless they've changed, are actually Lebanese. If I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. They're not even Brazilian, but they get it right.
That makes sense.
I used to go there a lot several years ago. I really did. Other than that, I would have to say Prime 112 still has to get a shout out here because, again, an institution.
You know, one of my good friends says the quality is always on.
Consistent.
It's so consistent.
Very consistent.
And they do great. Cheryl is amazing.
And they do great fried Oreos.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I don't know how. They should just get a shout out just for managing the crowd the way they do.
No, Miles is amazing.
Miles is amazing. Cheryl's amazing.
Yeah,
I never
Cheryl.
heard anything like it. They're incredible people. Best lounge scene.
Best lounge scene.
And then we'll take it back.
You know what? I have a new one.
Please.
I haven't mentioned it yet, and I really love it. I discovered it recently. Dante's Hi-Fi in Wynwood.
Okay.
Also locally owned and operated. Really freaking cool. They only play records.
Really?
Sorry.
Vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl.
Nice.
You walk in, super cool vibe, dark. You kind of don't feel like you're even in Miami. Maybe it's a New York vibe. Maybe it's an LA vibe. I'm not really sure. But they only play records, which I'm sorry. But if you know about records, this new generation, they don't know. The sound quality, I don't know. There's something else about it.
They don't know about CDs.
They don't know about CDs even. They don't know the struggle.
That's funny. All right. A lot of pressure here. Best dessert.
Ooh. Okay. Laku has this crazy, insane, I'm going to call it the wrong thing. It's like a sort of cheesecake situation. I dream about it all the time. It's really, really good. So we have to go back to Laku for one of those. And then I would say ZZ's.
ZZ's. So please, which dessert are you referring
ZZ's
to?
has a newer item on the menu. It's this deconstructed Snickers bar on top of this like bed of like shaved ice with peanuts and caramel. Surprisingly light, but it's so delicious and it's huge. And I swear to God, I could eat the whole thing by myself.
It's funny you say that because last time I was there, I was eating it and I was thinking, I don't know what this is, but I don't want to stop eating it. And I kept going back into it. And it didn't really feel bad for me, but it was dessert. And it was very unique to say the least.
Yeah.
But it was shaved ice.
It's shaved ice mostly. So, technically it doesn't really count, does it?
I always, whenever it gets to the table, it's fat-free and it's sugar-free and it's okay.
Yeah.
For the night.
That's what I tell myself.
Steph, I can't thank you enough for coming on, and I would maybe let's end with you want to give advice to someone who's trying to establish themselves in Miami, and you want to give them great advice. What would you tell this person? Because we're all about trying to give people just some foundation, some advice, or the people who are trying to come up. What advice would you give them for their come up?
The best advice, that's going to sound so kumbaya, but I'm telling you, it's the only thing that's worked for me. Just be a kind human being and be an authentic human being. And I don't mean that in some new agey, charge my crystals, whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that way. I just mean be the person that you're okay with being when you look yourself in the mirror in the morning, when you lay your head down on your pillow at night. Like, just be good to people, man. Because people in Miami have been guilty of one thing that I think we need to improve, and it happens in every big city, of having very transactional relationships and always being worried about what can I get out of this? What can I get out of this? At some point, they need to pay me back in some way. Just be concerned with what you can do for people. People can think you're a fool. They can think you're giving away for free. It doesn't matter. Just be nice, be kind, be generous with the person next to you. If you just got to Miami, talk to as many people as you can. Go out to dinner alone. Go to some of these spots alone. Sit at the bar. Talk to the person next to you. You'd be surprised. Get to know their story. Ask them a couple questions and actually listen when they speak to you. That has gotten me further with so many people in every walk of life than anything else that I've done.
Awesome. That's great advice. Thank you for taking us through this list. Thank you for the wonderful advice. Why don't you let the audience know where they can find you and where they can follow you?
Yes, so you can find me at Looking for Steph on Instagram or at Steph Told Me, where all my recommendations and all my fun Miami scene gossip is at. Yeah.
You've been great. Thank you so very
Thank
much.
you.
And we will have you back on, and we're going to create another list. You're going to create another list.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait.
All right. Thanks, Steph.
Thank you.